Hello and welcome to the CCP information session for Newton Falls High School for the 2022 to 2023 academic year. My name is Patrick Harbin and I am the College Credit Plus Academic Advisor at Eastern Gateway Community College. So what is College Credit Plus? College Credit Plus is Ohio's dual credit program. It is open to students in grades 7 through 12. These students are able to choose from a variety of college level courses. Now, course choice is determined by both placement testing and course eligibility rules. Students are able to earn credit to satisfy both high school and college graduation requirements. And any college course that is 3 or more credits converts to one high school unit. For example, if you took one semester of English composition, that is equal to 1 full year of high school English. The first step that any student looking to participate for the 22 to 23 academic year is they have to turn in the intent to participate form to their school counselor by April 1st of 2022. This is what allows you to take courses for the entire academic year next year. This does not obligate the student to take courses even if they fill this out and turn it in. They are not obligated in any way to participate in the program. This is just saying that they are interested, but by law, this must be completed by April 1st. So if your student is even considering doing this program at all next year, it's imperative that they get this turned in by that April 1st date, because after that April 1st date, they won't be able to turn it in and they would not be permitted to take courses at all throughout the entire year next year, and they'd have to sit out for the full academic year. The next step in the application process is to apply to Eastern Gateway. Now, we will actually come there for an application day, so no student needs to go and apply on their own. Myself and my director, Sarah Fletcher, will come there. They will give us a day for us to come to the high school, and we will help the students fill out the application. Now, the things that students must have ready to go when we get there, they must have their social security number in order to apply. They must have a non-parental, non-high school personal email. So we do not allow students to apply with a parent's email because we have to work directly with the student and the student only. We don't allow them to apply with a high school email address because a lot of the high school's firewalls are up so high that if they use that email, everything that we do is via email to these students. So all of our notifications go to their email. And with the high school firewalls, it blocks our emails from coming in. So they do need to have their own personal email. If they do not currently have one, then they will need to create one either through Google or Yahoo. They will also need to know a phone number, which if they do not have their own phone number, they are more than welcome to use a parent phone number or regular home phone number. They need to know their address and they need to know their zip code. Once the student has applied, step 3 would be the high school transcript. Any student who applies during the application day, they do not need to worry about going to their counselor and requesting the transcript. We will go back to our office and run a report after the application day, and we will send it to the high school showing them who applied, and we will request those students' transcripts. Now, any student who applies on their own outside of that application day will be responsible for going to their high school counselor and letting them know that they need to send a transcript to our office. Once the student has applied, the next step is to determine the student's eligibility. It used to be that students had to test college ready either through the ACT or SAT scores or a placement test. Due to COVID, for the past 2 years, the state had waived testing for students and allowed them to be accepted based on a 3.0 cumulative GPA. Now this year, as COVID kind of wanes down a little bit, they've gone back to the testing requirement, but they had also developed an alternative pathway. And they finalized this alternate pathway, and what they want to do is allow students with a high school cumulative GPA of a 3.0 to enter into the program. Now, That is pending final approval from the state, but we are pretty confident that this will be passed. So any student with a high school cumulative GPA of a 3.0 will be admitted into the program. Now, if you don't have a high school cumulative GPA of a 3.0, meaning if you're a high school student who does not have a 3.0, or you're a middle school student, grade 7 or 8, who has never taken a course that is worth high school credit, then you will be required to test. That can be through the ACT, the SAT, or placement test scores. And students do not have to take the ACT or SAT for admissions with us. We will simply do placement testing, and we will come to Newton Falls and administer the placement test to students during the school day, so they do not have to worry about having to come to our campus and find a ride. We will come there and do everything. If the student does not have a cumulative high school GPA of a 3.0, these are the scores that they would be required to get on one of the tests, either on the ACT, the SAT, or the next generation AccuPlacer, which is the placement test that we administer. Now, they only need to get that score in one area. However, depending upon which one they test into would determine what kind of courses they would be allowed to take. So, for instance, we'll use the ACT as an example. If they test in on English and have an 18, but they don't have the other two scores, then they would be accepted for non-math courses. If they only tested in under reading, they would be permitted to take all non-English and non-math courses. And if they only tested in on math, then they would only be permitted to take math courses. The very last step to complete the application and admissions process is the CCP permission form. And this is why it's so important that the students have this personal email and that they are checking it. Because as soon as the student applies to the college, they are going to receive an application checklist in their email to the email that they applied to. In that checklist is a link to our CCP permission form that the students and the parents must fill out, and then the student themselves must email it back to either myself or my director, Sarah Fletcher. And our emails are included in that application checklist so they know exactly who to send it to. If the student does not return this permission form, even if they're accepted to the college, we cannot by law enroll them into courses until we have that CCP permission form. So it is very important that as soon as the student applies, that they check for their application checklist and they get this permission form filled out and returned to our office. And what courses can students take? Under the law, students are required for their first 15 credit hours to be what is known as Level 1 courses. These are courses that are part of the OT 36, which was formerly known as the Ohio Transfer Module, or TAG courses, basically general education courses. These are courses that are deemed by law that any public college or university in the state of Ohio that a student goes to, these courses are guaranteed to be accepted for what they are. Meaning, for example, if you take college algebra with us, Ohio State, Ohio University, Kent State, YSU must accept that course as college algebra. So the first 15 credit hours are going to be your general education courses, your maths, your Englishes, your social sciences, your humanities, fine arts, science courses. Once the student has completed those first 15 credit hours, they are allowed to go on to more specific courses. As far as where students can take courses, they can take them at the high school with credentialed high school faculty, which we are going to be offering at Newton Falls, and I will cover in a later slide. They are welcome to take courses online with us. We have well over 60 level 1 courses that are available online. We have well over 100 courses that are available for students to take online after completing the first 15, or they could take courses at either our Steubenville or Youngstown campus. Now, the only rule for us is if a student would like to take a course in seat at one of our campuses, they must be 16 years or older. We are currently working with Newton Falls to determine which courses they would like to offer in seat at the high school with their credentialed high school instructors. And here is a current list. We have instructors at Newton Falls who are credentialed to teach college math, college English, and criminal justice. They are welcome to offer all of these courses to their students if they would like, or they may pick one or two from each area to offer to the students, but that will be determined at a later date by the high school. The course registration process, it's different between students who want to take the courses offered through the high school versus students who would like to take a course online or on our campus. If the student is only going to take the courses offered in seat at Newton Falls, they do not have to worry about registering for the course with us. We will work directly with the school counselor to register students for in-seat courses at the high school. If the student would like to take an online or on EGCC campus course, once registration opens for that semester, the student will need to go to our CCP webpage and schedule an appointment with me. This will be a phone appointment, and I will call the student at that time, and then I will register them from courses. Once that is completed, if they're going to register something for online or on our campus, the student will then undergo an orientation. If they're doing a phone appointment with me because they're taking an online or on EGCC campus course, I will do an orientation with them right over the phone where I teach them how to use our system, how to access everything, what everything is, our expectations. If the students are taking courses at the high school at Newton Falls, we will actually come there to the high school and host an orientation where, again, we will make sure that every student can log into our system. We will teach them how to use the system, how to access their courses, how to access their transcript, view their schedules, and use the different services that we offer. As for what kind of services the students are entitled to, the students are entitled to any service that any of our college students would get. Academic advising is one. They can meet with me anytime that they want for any questions, whether it's course registration or whether that student knows what college they want to go to and what major they would like to pursue after they graduate high school. We can meet and develop a pathway for them to take courses that will directly apply to that college's program and their intended major. If the student is interested in a certain major at Eastern Gateway, then I can put them into contact with our program director and again create a custom pathway for them in order to complete those requirements or at least prerequisites for our programs, for instance, such as nursing. We offer free tutoring to any student who needs it. All they have to do is contact our tutoring office. We do e-tutoring, so the student doesn't just have to come on campus to receive that help. They can always do it online. And then our Office of Accessibility Services. Any student who needs disability accommodations must work directly with our Office of Accessibility Services. If they have a 504 or an IEP or educational psych eval, they are not permitted to receive any of those accommodations. Even if the course is in seat at the high school, the only accommodations that they would be permitted to receive would have to come through our Office of Accessibility Services, and those are far different than what they would get under the high school 504 IEP or educational psych eval. So it's very important that if your student has or needs accommodations, that they are working with the Office of Accessibility Services as soon as possible so we can make sure that they get the accommodations that they need. Our application deadlines. The deadline to apply for the summer semester is May 13th. For the fall semester, it is July 1st. And for the spring semester, it is September 30th. Now, again, we will come there for an application day, so we would prefer that the students make sure that they attend that application day, just so then we can make sure that we get them in time. I would like to mention that, yes, we do offer a summer semester. However, we would strongly recommend that the student, for their first time, wait until the fall semester to take courses because the summer semester is a condensed course. So typically a full semester in the fall or spring is 16 weeks. If they take it in the summer, it will be 8 weeks. So it's condensed, but it's the same volume of work. So students are looking at a larger workload where they might have to cover 2 or 3 chapters a week. So we do not want students to get overloaded, especially their first time and have a bad experience. We would rather that they start in the fall and they take it nice and slow to make sure that they're successful. Once they've got a year under their belt, then if they would like to take a class the following summer, they are more than welcome to. I'm going to talk a little bit about House Bill 110, which was just put into effect this past year. And this is going to cover, the first piece that it will cover is mature subject matter. So it's important to understand that under the law, we cannot water down any content or change content simply because someone who is under the age of 18 or in high school is taking the course. We must offer the exact same content, meaning that depending upon the course, your student may be subjected to material of a graphic, explicit, violent, or sexual nature. For example, if a student is taking sociology, we're going to cover gender and race and sexuality, things that some may find offensive, but it is part of the material. So that's something for you and your student to discuss. There's the permission slip, which I have already covered, that's going to come in the application checklist that both the student and the parent must sign off on. The high school counselor must hold a counseling session that is signed off on by both the student and the parent to make sure that they understand this. And then there is a student questionnaire that the student must fill out where they acknowledge that they are socially and emotionally mature enough for college, and that they also accept the responsibility and independence that being a college student demands. This is done on the application, and this is something that the student must realize because success in this program is heavily dependent upon how mature and disciplined the student is, because they're going to be independent thinkers in this. They're going to be on their own a lot. And so one of the things that you have to discuss with the student is, are they mature enough to handle the independence that a college course requires? Are they focused? If you're at home with your student and you're having trouble getting your student to complete their tasks on time, this program may not be for them. As the advisor, I can tell you that the number one reasons for a student failing a course are always the same three. They quit doing their work, they never did their work, something happened, and they never contacted anybody at the college, they never contacted their instructor, they never said anything to the high school counselor or to somebody that could assist them and get them the help. So it's not really based upon how intelligent or how high the student scores on a test. It's how disciplined they are. And that's something that I would not know about your student. Maybe even the high school would know that about the student, but you as the parent would know your student the best. So please have this discussion with them, because you're going to be able to determine whether or not they are ready for this program. The last part under House Bill 110 is understanding the roles of parents, because it is drastically different between your role in high school, where you're a strong advocate working closely with teachers and counselors, versus college, where your main position is serving as a mentor and support solely at home. The college views the student as an independent decision maker. And under the law, this is a federal law, the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, we must work solely with the student at all times. And what that means is that you as the parent are not permitted to contact the college on behalf of the student. And you are not permitted to speak to any college instructor, and that includes any credentialed high school teacher. Parents are not permitted to speak to them. Now, we do have a release form, which during orientation, I will show the students where this release form is in our system. That would grant you the limited ability to contact our office, and you may ask some basic questions about your student, but you couldn't alter their schedule in any way, so you couldn't add or drop or withdraw a student from a course. And even with that release form signed, you are still not permitted to talk to an instructor. Now, if your student contacts my office, you are always welcome as a parent to be present on the phone. And as long as I hear from the student first and they grant permission, I can answer any questions that you have, and I'm more than happy to talk to you as long as I hear from the student. Now, again, when it comes to a faculty member, you would still not be allowed to speak to the faculty member, even if the student gives you permission. If you or your student have any questions, please have your student contact us. You can visit our CCP webpage by using the link on this slide. My director, Sarah Fletcher's email and office number is on the slide, as well as my email and my office number is also included here on the slide. So please have your student contact us, and we would be more than happy to speak to both your student and yourself and answer any questions that you have. We look forward to working with your student and the Newton Falls School District for the upcoming year, and thank you very much.